First of all, I want to thank you all so much for joining us virtually tonight for our literary competition award ceremony and reading. Of course, it's very different than usual, but we're doing what we can to foster the literary arts in York County. And I also want to thank all of our wonderful authors for submitting to the 17th annual literary competition and the 9th annual youth literary competition. Both of these competitions consist of 2 categories, each have poetry and short story, and within each of those, our jurors have selected a winner for first place, second place, third place, and 2 honorable mentions. I would like to thank our jurors for all of their hard work and dedication, and this year our competition was juried by Wendy Kidd of the Perihelion Book Club, Lucille Harper, a retired teacher, Melissa Gilbert, adjunct faculty at Winthrop University, Mary Martin, an instructor of English at Winthrop University, and Angelo Jeter, Rock Hill's Poet Laureate. I would also like to thank the Perihelion Book Club for underwriting our rewards for the 17th annual literary competition. In the adult short story and adult poetry categories, third place winners will receive $50, second place will receive $75, and first place will receive $125. Since we obviously can't hand those to you right now, we have put them in the mail. A few reminders is that the Cotton Alley Writers Review, our online literary magazine, will be available soon online on yorkcountyarts.org. And also, this virtual event is being recorded, and we will have it posted to Facebook soon so you can share with your family and friends. So let's get started. Each award will be announced one at a time, and once yours has been announced, you will have the opportunity to read your short story or poem. We do ask that you limit any short stories to 500 words or less. And make sure your mic's unmuted so we can hear you all. And I would like to introduce tonight's MC, who is Rock Hill's Poet Laureate, Angelo Jeter. Angelo, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Jesselyn. Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me and see me okay? Good? Awesome. Good stuff. I hope everyone's doing well. This is a really great occasion. Thank you all so much to the Arts Council for allowing me to be the MC for this evening. For some reason, people think I can speak very well. I look okay sometimes, so they decided I'd be a good host for tonight's event. So I'm really looking forward to this. And so thank you all for the writers and the poets that submitted things to the competition. As one of the judges, I really had an amazing time reading a lot of the submissions. And so it was such a hard job for me. So I don't envy any other jurors as well. So we want to get into tonight. So what I would say is that, normally we'll be in a setting where we can all hear each other and hear applauses and everything. But we can do some virtual stuff. So we can do virtual claps like this. If you want to put emojis in the chat, if you want to snap it up. I'm a spoken word poet, and sometimes in our venue we snap things up. We can do that as well. And also feel free to comment on things that you like and that you hear as well, and to congratulate the winners for tonight. So what I would like to do is start us off with a poem, if that's okay, and then we can kind of just roll into it. So this poem is something I wrote some time ago, and it was fortunately recently featured in the Academy of American Poets Poem a Day series. They picked it up and they thought it was worthy of the times they were living in, and so I want to share this tonight as well. It's called Praise. Today I will praise. I will praise the sun for showering its light on this darkened vessel. I will praise its shine. Praise the way it wraps my skin in ultraviolet ultimatums demanding to be seen. I will lift my hands in adoration of how something so bright could be so heavy. I will praise the ground that did not make feasts of these bones. Praise the casket that did not become a shelter for flesh. Praise the bullets that called in sick to work. I will praise the ground that did not make feasts of these bones. Praise the casket that did not become a shelter for flesh. Praise the trigger that went on vacation. Praise the chalk that did not outline a body today. Praise the body for still being a body and not a headstone. Praise the body for being a body and not a police report. Praise the body for being a body and not a memory no one wants to forget. Praise the memories. Praise the laughs and smiles you thought had been evicted from your jawline. Praise the eyes for seeing and still believing, for being blinded from faith but never losing their vision. Praise the visions. Praise the prophets who don't profit off of those visions. Praise the heart for housing this living room of emotions. Praise the trophy that is my name. Praise the gifts that is my name. Praise the name that is my name, which no one can plagiarize or gentrify. Praise the praise, how the throat sounds like a choir. The harmony in your tongue lifts into a song of adoration. Praise yourself for being able to praise, for waking up when you had every reason not to. So that's that. So tonight I wanted to show that because we're praising all the winners for tonight and everyone who's thought not robbery to share their work with us. So I'm really looking forward to hearing everything we got going on. So without further ado, we're going to get into the youth poetry winners. And so I will announce the winners individually, and then you'll read an excerpt or your entire poem, and then we'll go from there. All right. So the first winner, honorable mention, is a poem entitled Moments by Harlan Rembert. Clap it up for Harlan Rembert. Harlan, if you're here, we would love to hear your work.
Thank you. The moment is fleeting and permanent. It cannot be held despite your wishes. The human sea roars and crashes around me, but my eyes remain steadily on her, the island in the storm. These temporary moments are personal experiences. Only one person can live a moment. In her deep eyes, I can see the shore. Another's moment is not your moment, regardless of proximity in time or space. I struggle against the waves, trying to reach her. Its identity is separate. I throw out my hands to grasp the stones to be saved by her, but they recoil from me. It is because of this that your moments can only be known to you. Gazing longingly, desperately at her, I am sucked under by the crowd. And because your moments cannot endure, you will lose them. Her serene form vanishes into the turmoil. This simply means that all you remember will fade, lost to the world forever. Your unique life will be swept away as leaves in the wind. The moments that form you cease to be. I flail helplessly, surrounded by the sea, my hands finding nothing to grasp in the thick of the crowd. I drown. The memory is the moment.
Great job, Harlan. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. So the next honorable mention award goes to Liliana Albert for To All the Bullies. Clap it up for Liliana.
You tell me I'm worthless. You tell me I'm weak. I cry so much I can't even speak. You tell me you're kidding. You say it's a joke. I give you a look. You're lying, I croak. You give a false smile. I giggle, then say, why, of course I am stupid. Now have a great day. You start to walk off with your head held high. Not so fast, I say with a cry. Now I know I'm not pretty or popular like you, but the reason you're mean, I might have a clue. You might feel down, you might feel blue, but that's okay, but I'm here because I'm here for you. You may have been mean, you may have been cruel, but I have a secret, one golden rule. Treat others kindly, even if they don't do the same. It will make our world better, no need for blame.
Great job. Thank you so much for sharing your work. Thank you for submitting. Awesome. So now we're going to the top three winners for the youth poetry competition. Third place for a poem entitled The Death of George Floyd by Jalen Lasalle Foster. Congratulations, Jalen. And if you can step to the microphone.
Hi. Thank you. I am thrown to the pavement, his knee pressed to my neck. I feel the rough pavement that is cold and wet. I feel no one is there. Nobody hears my calls. I'm calling out to my mama, who I love most of all. I shout in horror. I scream and twist, but no one seems to hear me in this pitless abyss. The world around me darkens. As I scream, I can't breathe, but another officer grabs me, and my screams are muffled by his sleeve. My name is George Floyd. I was killed because I'm Black. I had a family and I had a daughter. Say it louder for the racist in the back.
Awesome. Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. Thank you again. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. So now, second place, top two for the youth poetry competition. So second place goes to Madeline Jones for In His Accord. Congratulations, Madeline. Step to the microphone. And I want to say also, if you guys can say your name again and also what grades that you're in. I know I didn't tell everybody else that. Say your name and your grade.
My name is Madeline Jones, and I'm in 8th grade. Oh, when will this pandemic end? Oh, how will our society mend? Will it be stressful? I hope one day we will all be successful. The things that make us happy, like barbecues and cash, have been taken away from us like a flash. Maybe the economy will bounce back, or maybe it will lack. This pandemic has made pollution go down. Beautiful endangered animals have been found. But people are in danger. This is a serious task. People are walking around wearing face shields and masks. I can't breathe and calling for his mama. Listening to George Floyd cry and watching the police kneeling on his neck put me in a state of grief, pain, trauma, and dialect. Everyone is upset and declaring Black Lives Matter. Police throwing tear gas and beating people until they scatter. Rioting could only be the beginning, but looting and vandalizing is a form of sinning. I fall to my knees with tears in my eyes. I want the Lord to wrap us up in his arms to help us to survive. So much is happening, I just don't know what to do. People are losing their minds to this virus, violence, brutality, and misconstrued. But then I remember in Galatians 5:22 through 23, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. All lives do matter in the eyes of the Lord, but Black lives matter in his accord. Amen.
Congratulations, Madeline. Wow, 8th grade. That's amazing. That's really awesome. Everyone's been doing a great job. Thank you so much. Now, the moment we've been waiting for, the first place goes to Margaret Rosinski. Congratulations, Margaret. And her poem is Whatever Happened to Yesteryear. Congratulations. Step to the microphone, tell us your name and your grade.
Thank you. And as he said, my name's Maggie Rosinski, and I'm a 12th grader at Nation Ford. Whatever happened to yesteryear, when all the world was new frontier, the shouts of freedom on our lips, the universe was innocence. With every man in brotherhood, side by side, and all was good. But was the past what we've been taught? For heinous deeds were done and wrought. See the lash upon the back, the bloody dead upon the rack. Oh, if you yourself could see the casualties of history. Their voices whisper to us now. Will you avenge us? Will you vow to right the wrongs done long ago? Or will you reap what the vile sow, and stand aside as injustice is done? For the battle for good has scarcely begun.
This time. Congratulations, Maggie. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the winners. And because I didn't do it for everybody, Harlan, can you say what grade that you are in? If you're still listening.
I'm a sophomore at Nation Ford High School.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Great job. Liliana, what grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade at Fort Mill Middle School.
Awesome. Wow. Jalen?
I am in 8th grade at Saluda Trail Middle School.
Great. Thank you all so much. Great work. It's always amazing to hear what you have to say. So thank you all so much. I will be on my soapbox for a quick second. I learned my love for poetry in middle school and I think it's just really, and it like developed in high school and college and in my adult life. So I think it's really important that your voice is heard and that you even thought it enough of yourself and what you're doing to share it here. So thank you so much. Keep writing, keep performing, keep doing what you do. One thing I will also mention is that one of my initiatives as poet laureate for the city of Rock Hill is to create a youth poet laureate position. And so I'm in the process now of establishing that with Urban Word, which is a national youth poetry organization. So in May, we plan to crown our first youth poet laureate. And so you all can absolutely apply for that and be a part of the commencement ceremonies and all that stuff. So as we get things like solidified with the national organization, I absolutely want to stay in contact with you and want you to put your hats in the ring, and hopefully one of you could potentially be the youth poet laureate for the city of Rock Hill. And this will be one of the first ones, if not the first one in the state of South Carolina to have a youth poet laureate. So I'm really excited about that. Another thing I want to mention too is one of my initiatives is a youth poetry workshop and open mic that I'm going to be starting in January. So the second Saturday of every month. So you're all also welcome to be a part of that. We'll talk about some writing techniques. We'll do some performance techniques and all that good stuff. And we'll have special guests come in periodically as well. So again, I have your names and information, and we'll definitely shoot that out to you. But I want you to be a part of that, and I really think it's important to highlight youth voices. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for doing what you do. So that's my little tidbit. I won't do much more of that for the rest of the night, I promise. So the next thing I want to go over is the youth short story category. These I didn't have the opportunity to read these, but I heard about them, and there's some amazing work here. I can't wait to hear what they want to share. So the first honorable mention goes to Ashley Donaldson for Tales from Little Man Island.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Say your name and what grade you're a part of.
Hi, I'm Ashley Donaldson, and I'm in the 11th grade. 11th? Is it 11th? I'm in the 11th grade at Rock Hill High School.
Awesome. We'd love for you to share some of your work, if you don't mind.
All right. 3 classes into the day, there was a lunch break, during which Victor just left. Later, Victor had unceremoniously returned to the class about 30 minutes late and slapped a rotted, car-struck raccoon on the teacher's desk. All right! Hello, children. My name is Mr. Kellowan, but you can call me Mr. K. I know this is very different from your usual class, but since I am a biologist, I thought today I would show you a bit of biology. As the children watched on in horror, some began crying, some shouting, and one vomited. But despite all of this, Victor still felt a familiar black, oily haze fall over his mind. It was thick like molasses, and often covered his eyes when he did horrible things like this. Victor was never really conscious during these events. It was his defense mechanism. He shut the blinds of his mind and let the urge run over him, and then he lied through his teeth to cover up the tracks. He began dissecting the raccoon and separating the organs, using no lab safety equipment. He sliced the raccoon open, doing it slowly as not to make a crease or uneven line in the stomach. All right, anybody brave enough to come up here and help Mr. K? No, they didn't think so. The children were quiet. Some delicate sobs were heard in the back of the room, but other than that, the natural noise of the school itself, it was silent. Victor reaches into the drawer on the desk, pulling out a pair of pencils. These were just fine to spread the ribs. Victor jammed the pencils into the lifeless animal's open torso, and with a bit too much force, he attempted to try to pry the ribs apart, which wasn't really that difficult, seeing as the raccoon had been lying out for quite a bit. The ribs parted with ease, releasing a smothered sound of bones cracking, cartilage flexing, much like the sound of snapping a watermelon rind. One of the smallest children was brave enough to speak up, albeit timidly, his mousy voice only making little impact over the empowering, moist sounds of fresh meat, and the children's calls of confusion and distress. Mr. K, what are you doing? His small hand was lifted in the air, quivering like a flagpole during a tornado. Victor felt that deep fog covering his eyes lift when he saw the tender, innocent child. He couldn't handle it. He had to lie. Well, Timmy, a kidney was tossed over here, Mr. K is trying to, a lung thrown over there, make sure that the little raccoon is... And just like that, the principal walked in. Victor sighed in relief. What in God's name is going on here? Mr. Kellogg, I want to see you in my... Your office? Yeah, I figured. Thank you.
Great job. Great story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Very good work. Very good work. So, moving to the next honorable mention goes to Layla Brindisi for Control. Layla, are you here? Congratulations, Layla.
Hi, I'm Layla Brindisi. I'm in 8th grade at Banks Trail Middle.
I almost got it right. I'm sorry. Brindisi?
It's okay.
Awesome. If you can share your work with us, that'd be great.
Okay. And suddenly, Maria morphed into a great black beast that towered over me. The beast nudged me to the edge of the roof until I wobbled, trying to keep my balance. Now jump, my dear. Jump and go home, the beast growled, but the voice came out as sweet Maria. I closed my eyes, imagining it was really her. Anything for you, I whispered and began to walk off the edge and closed my eyes, letting my body slip. I felt the wind rushing past me, and my life flashed before my eyes. I saw myself meeting Maria. I saw us growing up together. I saw when I found out she died. I saw when I met her again. I closed my eyes, begging for the darkness to just come, to let me return to dust.
Thank you so much. Great job. Great job, Layla. Brindisi, right? Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. So, third place in the youth short story competition goes to Megan Andrews for Fish. Clap it up for Megan. Megan, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. If you can introduce yourself and then share your work.
I'm Megan. I'm an 11th grader at Nation Ford High School, and I wrote Fish.
Awesome.
So, there's an old yellow cat that likes to visit me the day because it's too much to take. He'll sit outside the black entrance door of a bicycle shop and meow until I come and bring him a bowl of milk. He'll let me pet him sometimes, when he's in a good mood, but mostly he'll sit with me and bathe in the comfort of my presence. I don't know where he comes from. All I know is that he'll show up every evening when the lights of our neighborhood become dull and the stars start to peek out from behind the purple clouds. His fur reeks of fish, probably because there are fishing boats near the pier where I live. I decided to call him Fish because sometimes he'll show up with a stolen fish in his mouth. I think it's a fitting name. Fish started showing up about a year ago when my parents started fighting. I think that is why Fish came. I had become lonely. One evening, when the yelling and the arguing became too much, I ran up into the alley and discovered Fish. He meowed at me and let me stroke him until I stopped crying. Then he stood up and padded over to the green trash cans that were beneath a small shed in the end and looked at me, demanding with a feline sense of leadership that I should follow. I kept close to him, and we hopped across the trash cans and through the buzzing clouds of mosquitoes. We climbed up an old wisteria trellis until we found and made our way up into the roof. We could see everything from there, Fish and I. Above the trash, alleyways, and fighting, we looked across at the grassy expanse and see the lit streets of Charleston, with its twinkling gas lamps and faint voices of late-night strollers. I watched those lights and could almost imagine the lives of the people that lived so close to me and yet seemed so far away. I sat for what seemed like hours, watching the quiet city, feeling the breeze tickle my neck and the smell of the clean ocean air entering my nose. Fish sat with me, purring as I ran my hands through his silky fur. We sat and watched, and taking in the quiet evening and ignoring our problems until finally the darkness of night blanketed the sky, and it was time to creep inside. Fish led me down past the rooftops and trash cans, his tail swishing softly to keep his balance and to ward off the lazy mosquitoes. When we reached the door, we listened and heard that the shouting had stopped. He meowed at me then, a quick, soft meow that over time I learned it meant goodbye, and turned and made his way through the alley and into the grass that followed. I stood and watched his yellow tail disappear into the brush, and I was alone again. I opened the door and went inside, creeping softly up the stairs and into my safe and comfy bed. I dreamt of Charleston that night. I dreamt of Charleston and the docks that smelled of fish, and I did not feel so alone.
Awesome. I'm trying not to overdo the foghorn, but congratulations. Great work. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Man, this is really good. I'm really enjoying this. Hope y'all are enjoying it as well. We're going to keep this moving, keep this thing moving. So second place for the youth short story competition goes to Emily Rushing for Companions. Emily, are you here? Okay, don't hear Emily. Don't see Emily. But congratulations to Emily one more time. And then we definitely will make sure that she gets everything, and I don't have her work to read in her place. But we definitely want to give her respect and her congratulations. So, first place for the... Wait, make sure I'm not reading something wrong here. Okay, all right. All right, good, we're good. All right, so first place for the youth short story competition, this is a very long title, so that's why I was confused for a second. It goes to Jessica Branham.
Hey, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my name's Jessica Branham. I'm in 12th grade at York Preparatory Academy.
Awesome. And tell us the name of your work. I want you to say it.
I gotta find it. Short title is Alien Brain, Human Heart, and then the entire title is Alien Brain, Human Heart, My Life with Eddie Venus, excerpts from the entirely true memoir of Asher Doyle.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear that.
Sorry, I'm trying to find my place.
You're fine.
Okay, 1976. The spaced Eddie Venus World Tour had ended. He was at his largest and best yet. From Japan to California, thousands of people cried his name and sang with him every night. There was more booze, more drugs, more groupies, more parties, more of everything. Eddie bought a summer house for us in Barcelona, while we stayed in our flat in London for the rest of the year. Really and truly, the summer house was the party house. Those were the only parties I ever got dragged into. Driven by my career, I learned to enjoy Eddie's parties for once. In 73 and 74, I kept away from his parties, away from the drugs and the alcohol. And while I never gave in to the troublemakers, I did not hesitate to mingle with the guests, and I loved it. I talked with everyone who was anyone and wrote about our conversations the next day. Apparently, everyone in the UK wanted to know what Jimmy Page did when he wasn't recording, or how Diana Ross described her life with the Young Jacksons. Anything and everything they wanted to know. The Barcelona home would look like an abandoned warehouse the next day. That was typically when the parties ended. People would come over around 7 o'clock and finally left by 12 in the afternoon the next day. Or they were passed out in the bathtubs and guest rooms. Chairs and tables would be flipped over, mirrors would be broken, cocaine would settle around the house like dust, and there was always a new stain on the carpet. Eddie's cleaning service hated us. They upped their prices after the second party, but that didn't stop Eddie from inviting people over every Friday night. Every Friday night for the entirety of the summer of 76. But by September, it all ended. Eddie got bored of the drugs again, so he went back to the recording studio to record his fourth album.
Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you again. Quick question, out of curiosity, is this part of a larger work that you're doing? Could you say excerpts from a memoir?
It's just a thought, like, for a potential story that I had, but this isn't like fully developed. These were just little bits that I wrote.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, definitely keep working on that. I think I would definitely pay the $10.99 or the $15.99 for that book. So please, I look forward to seeing and reading that. All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Hey, Angelo, I'm seeing a screen for Jennifer Rushing, which I believe might be Emily Rushing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I think she's muted though.
Got you. Jennifer or Emily, are y'all in the place? Okay. I can only see a certain number of people. So if maybe something's going on with the sound or something, if you can send me a message, or put something in the chat, and then we'll get you maybe at the end to read your piece whenever you get a chance. So if you can't do it right now, let me know, and we'll definitely want to give you your flowers and give you your stage for winning for that competition. So
yeah, it looks like something's going on with their mic. So
okay.
hopefully that can get resolved.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, so just let us know when you get it together. We'll get you worked in. So congrats again to Jessica Branham for that great work. And congrats again to all the youth short story winners. Congrats. Let's clap it up for them one more time. Good stuff. And I know I mentioned the youth workshops for poetry, but it's for writing in general. So I definitely want to invite all of you, once we get those started in January, to please come. It's called the Up Next Youth Poetry Series, or just writing workshop poetry series, because I believe the youth are up next, right? Like eventually we're old people going to get older, and you're going to be the next generation. So, and you're already the generation that's making differences and making changes. So feel free to participate in that as well. So moving on to the next category, adult poetry. I had the honor of, and the tough job of reading all of these, which is some amazing work that we read. All of the poems, all the winners here tonight had great work, as well as those who didn't get a prize. And it was a really tough decision from my part. So I'm looking forward to hearing these poets read. So the first honorable mention for the adult poetry category goes to Joy Coulter for Cleaning House. Joy, you're in the place to be correct. Clap it up for Joy. Joy, I think I saw your name. Are you in the place?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can. You have a fancy background.
Yeah, I wish I really was there.
If you can say your name, what city you represent, and also any title that you may hold as well.
Joy Coulter. I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. And the title, I just won an honorable mention for this contest, for this poem. That's all the title I have. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can share.
Okay. Cleaning house. Mom, you're gone to the facility. I can put things back in their intended spaces without fear of you co-opting them as personal playground toys. Bar soap and deodorant you sometimes use as toothpaste are at home inside the bathroom. My purple toothbrush that would tempt you need not by my bedside be. The toilet paper's out of hiding. 3 sit on the upright holder knowing they won't be transported elsewhere. The trash I redirected when I caught you sifting, sorting, and recycling is rerouted to the right receptacle. Your car keys have resurfaced, discovered in the lies I told about their disappearance. My memories bagged, emotions canned and stashed upon the highest kitchen shelf when I became your cook, your driver, private shopper, nurse, and janitor, are now in hand and open, ready for their placement in my head and heart. I finally emerge, free to be the weeping daughter I'm supposed to be. Thank you.
Great work, Joy. Great work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate it so much. So, moving forward for the Adult Poetry Awards, again, like I said to Joy, when I say your name and your poem, if you can say your name, where you're from, because the Adult Poetry Competition, I guess I didn't say this. Let me rewind. Bad host. So the Adult Poetry Competition, it wasn't relegated to just poets from Rock Hill. The Youth Poetry Competition is where our kids and youth in the Rock Hill area. But the Adult Poetry categories literally can be from anyone across the Southeast. And so we could have people, and I think we do, from all over. So I definitely want you to shout out where you're from, and also if you're a professor, or if you're a stargazer, or if you brush your teeth really well, whatever your title is, some kind of accolade or something about yourself and behind your name. Definitely want you to also do that as well. All right. So the next honorable mention goes to John Storino for I ran my cursor over your name. John, I saw you in here a little earlier. You're still here?
John's here. I think he may be muted.
Okay. John, if you can hear us. Okay. Looks like the internet wants to hate on us today. It's all right. It's okay. We can get you in. But John, John, if you hear me, send a message whenever you get things together, and then we'll get you back worked out into it. Looks like he left, and he's probably trying to get back in. So
probably.
Okay. Well, clap again to John. Love again to John, and we'll get him back in when he gets back in the room. Moving on to the third place in the adult poetry competition. Third place goes to Don Woods for A Real Life. Congratulations, Don.
Thank you. So I'm Dawn Woods, and I've lived in Charlotte until just 4 weeks ago. I moved to Philadelphia, so I'm breaking your rules a little bit.
It's okay.
Not in the Southeast anymore, but and I've worked with teenagers all my life and families as a teacher and a counselor and a family coach. So that's what I do. A real life. He called it a disorder, and he meant it. They want outlets for cables and cords supported by dependable electric currents. Dark bedrooms with chargers pumping the glow of screens, stale air, robotic noises, and the ping of another notification. Not us. We explored goldenrod fields just beyond the property line. We found soft stones to skip on the reservoir. We were on the hunt, always, for turtles, goose eggs, and signs of deer nearby. It's true, we really did rake a pile of leaves to jump into before setting it on fire. We really did set up traps with long strings leading to steady fingers. We hid behind the bush to see what bird we could catch, only to set it free. We really did chase fireflies before stretching out on the cold ground under shooting stars, competing with each other to find Orion's belt. We really did build a fort out of weed-entangled posts from an old, discarded split-rail fence. We really did design a secret room in the loft of the barn, with whatever we could haul up the ladder as bats flapped and darted above us. We really did get called back indoors by a cowbell on the side porch, where we stocked the wood pile for winter. We really did stay out in the cold for hours and ride our bikes on the frozen lake engulfed in the silence of snow. No one knew where we were. No one tracked us. We imagined stories and scenarios, and we lived them. We daydreamed, and then we tried it. We explored in real time the wind, rain, snow, and sunshine against our faces. We smelled the dirt and tasted the stem of the honeysuckle flower. No one could diagnose us with nature deficit disorder. There were no plastic playgrounds restricted by code. We didn't lock our bedroom doors streaming Netflix in the dark. We felt the ground under our bare feet and tasted blackberries off the bush. We lived out our days in the wonder of the earth, while our bedrooms sat vacant, waiting to give us deep rest and dreams of the rising sun awakening us to live again.
Awesome. Great work.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. Thank you again. Good work. I'm really enjoying all the work everyone's doing tonight. It's good stuff. Especially in the world we're living in, I think it's good to have good words, right? No matter if they're sad words or they're upsetting words or happy words, they're good words. And so we appreciate the good words being spread. So thank you all for doing that. Next, I think if John is back in the place, we can get John back up. So if you didn't hear this, John won honorable mention for the poem I Ran My Cursor Over Your Name. John Storino.
Yes, I'm John Storino. I am from Columbia, South Carolina, and I am an author of 4 books of poetry. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I ran my cursor over your name. A few years ago, I guess it was longer than that. I took a photo of the wall pre-dawn with the Washington Monument in the background. Some years later, on a trip back to D.C. with my 4-megapixel camera, I renewed that photo. Scenes I had gotten there after a crew had rinsed the memorial down. Took a scattering of shots, of which 2 became part of my repertoire, Trail of Tears and Avian Way in black and white. I didn't wait around to see loved ones of the over 57,000 find particular names and Optima typeface to make an etching with pencil and paper. I have written a persona piece illustrating that technique, When the Wall. Now there are volunteers who make a rubbing of names which can be ordered online for those who cannot make the trip themselves. We live in coronavirus wartime, where sniper fire, a droplet, could send one to a hospital or contract this at a nursing home, or one could take one's last breath at home without ever receiving a swab of determination that you, someone, anyone, for this virus does not discriminate, have been shot by this sniper. Today, May 24th, the New York Times from front page listed 1,000 of names who became America's COVID losses of this pandemic war, now approaching 100,000. I traced your name with my cursor, Tim. Yes, one small etching. Timothy J. Liswinski. My friend, I found your name on the new wall, and I shed my tear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. Appreciate that good work there, and glad we were able to get you to share. Thanks again. So now we're down to the top two winners for the adult poetry competition. So second place goes to Bonnie Stannard for Old Frog. I hope I said your last name right. I think you're muted, Bonnie.
Yes, you pronounced my name correctly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you to the Arts Council for this opportunity to stand behind us writers in the area. I'm Bonnie Stannard. I live in Lexington, South Carolina. The poem is Old Frog. It's a narrative poem, and it's something of a fable. When the sun slips behind the pines and sets in the west like a muggy stone, and the moon arises over gray ground, over gangly oaks getting frosty in the roots, finches and wrens peep from their perches, the earthworms get down to digging tunnels, and owls shiver in their hidey holes, and foxes curl up in their burrows. That's when Old Frog, a leader of a band of forest dwarfs, watches and listens from his den in a hollow tree. People say that members of his tribe are miners who work in tunnels under the earth in search of a buried star. Only after a while, the dwarfs wanted to hear the sound of wind and the smell of pines and spruces and firs, so they set aside some time to come up to an old forest when the weather was December. Some people say they've seen them, seen their flat heads and their bulgy eyes. They have really thick necks and stooped backs and strong legs, so strong they jump saplings in a single bound. Old folks say their loud snores can be heard if a fog is in the wind. On nights when there's no moonlight, when clouds shiver in the sky, and the wind turns wet and soggy and murmurs, Old Frog rallies the dwarfs from their sleep. They awake and tumble out of their hollow, in the midst of a drizzle and scramble far into the foggy forest, each one to his own neck of the wood. There they prop in the cradle of trees and wedge their boots against the boughs, and they take a slippery needle from under their tongue. What, you may say, their tongue? Well, they have lips of leather and tongues tougher than bark. They're not like you and me. They roll cold rain with their fingers until it's silver thread of ice, and when it's right, they thread their needles and stitch a coat over naked branches, over twigs, stems, berries, and cones, all the while rocking and rocking back and forth and back and forth. From cedar to cypress to sweet gum, they carry on with their work, though their breath comes out like clouds, and though their whiskers turn to icicles. And that's the reason, some say, a lowing sound arises from their noses, a sound of Elimos, Elimos. The story goes that they're ageless in the dark of night. But come the break of dawn, their hair goes crispy, and their joints brittle, and their legs stiff, and they get so solid they can't move. So it is that at the earliest trace of morning light, old Frog hails the wind to warn the dwarfs that sun is creeping into the sky. They crack off their flinty thread to end their work and leap to the ground and hurry back to burrows that lead deep down into the underground. You can hear Elimos, Elimos, Elimos in frozen forests late of a night. And maybe it's the wind in the trees, you'll say to yourself. But then again, maybe, just maybe, old Frog and the dwarfs are busy stitching. The end. I would like to mention that I'm going to be on a presentation in Columbia. It's on November, and it's a Zoom meeting. It's called and anybody can come. It's Words and Wind, and I suppose if you take that on Facebook, you would find it. On November 17th, I'm making a presentation there. And as well, I have a chapbook of poems that's available from Main Street Rack. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations, Bonnie. Thank you again. I would say that poem was full of images, and when I was reading it, I'm like, this person had a fun time writing this poem. So thank you so much for spreading the fun and that wonderful story. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So now we're down to the winner. We are a really great poem already. We're down to the winner of the poetry competition. So first place goes to Jessica Mueller for What We Got to Be Scared Of.
Hi, I'm Jess Mueller, and I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I'm just a homeschool mom and a writer. So this is called What We Got to Be Scared Of. They thought they were going to shoo us out that night, like they could dig the roots out under us. We laughed. Them who hide under bed sheets looking like children dressing up as ghouls, except them's grown men carrying their fear in shrouds of white. We ain't scared. What we got to be scared of. They done already killed our pawpaws and brothers in our own yard, locked up our mamas and sisters and aunties in the shed, with no plea but to hear that killing shot. Left to clean up the blood and bodies of our kin. What we got to be scared of. They told us we don't belong on our own land, tried to push us aside and out, but there ain't nowhere else on earth for our brown skin. We stay where the dark waters flow. What we got to be scared of. They telled us we can't learn here, so we built our own schools, we taught our own people. They telled us we ain't really Indian, so we stirred our tea leaves, kept our hand to the plow. They telled us we can't worship there, so we led our sheep prayers raised to the God who sees. Can't work here, can't live here, can't pee here, can't eat here, can't sit here. Can't. What we got to be scared of. So when they showed up that night with their one platform light, a cuz shot it up and shut them out. And we hooted and hollered, whooping our war cry, chasing their scaredy cat, clothesline wearing, fear out of town. Because what we got to be scared of. Thank you.
Great work, Jessica. Thank you so much. Anything you want to mention that you're doing?
Nope, that's it.
That's fine. Perfectly fine. Thank you so much. One of the marks of really good poetry is something that makes you want to research. And so I remember very vividly researching the story that you put as the footnote for that, reading that piece. And so thank you for telling that story and giving us that perspective. I really appreciate that so much. Thanks again. So now we're down to the last category of the night, the adult short story competition. I'm sure this is going to be very interesting, very intriguing, very exciting. So I'm looking forward to hearing what these writers have to share. So the first honorable mention goes to Leslie Peterson for Call Me Old Fashioned. Clap it up for Leslie. Leslie,
thank you.
Welcome.
I'm Leslie Peterson, and I'm from Aiken, South Carolina. My story is called Call Me Old Fashioned. 70-year-old Maggie found herself piloting a small plane when she'd only been a passenger before. She just couldn't imagine how she'd managed to safely descend through a green valley and land in a lush pasture. But when she awoke from the dream in her bed next to her snoring husband Darren, the realization of what must have happened and its implications made her want to smash her phone. Devastated, she put her head under her pillow, barely noting the fresh scent of the fabric softener on the newly washed sheets, something which usually soothed her. Earlier that day, Maggie had downloaded a new app to her phone that allowed her to order very specific dreams for herself or others in her pod of users. For Darren, a former pilot who'd recently been grounded due to his failing eyesight and health, she'd ordered an exciting dream of soaring in his plane once again. For herself, she had planned a return to a memorable evening long ago with her previous husband, Clement, who had died in 2020. But somehow, when she had placed the order, she must have screwed up and transposed something because Maggie definitely didn't get the dream she ordered for herself. She was afraid that since she'd had Darren's dream, he may have had her dream.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very good work. Very great work. Thanks for sharing. So I want to go back. You're welcome. I want to go back for a second. So in the youth short story competition, Emily had some issues with her microphone. So I want to shout her out again. So second place for the youth short story competition, Emily Rushing for Companions. And if she can share her work now, that'd be great. Clap it up for Emily one more time.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, good. Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm in 7th grade at Springfield Middle School. And when I stop reading, it's not the end, because my original story was like 3,000 words. So, man, I wish I had a dog like Noah, Charlie said. I glanced over at my fluffy mutt, his black folded ears flapping as he trotted happily beside us. His tongue was rolling over his bottom lip, flopping with his movements, and his tail was high in the air, wagging softly. Why? I asked. He's adorable. Dumb as a post, too. Elliot? What? He knows it too, don't you, bud? I replied, looking over at Noah and scratching behind his ear. He huffed and leaned into it, tail wagging harder and mouth splitting open into a dog version of a smile. Ellie, that's not fair. Says who? Me. Well, no one needs your opinion anyways. Charlie nudged me playfully with her shoulder, and I scoffed. We continued walking deeper into the oak woods in comfortable silence before she spoke up. How'd you get Noah anyway? Found him digging in a trash can, I answered, patting his back. He kept coming back, so my sister and I put food out. He started eating that, and one thing led to another, and voila, the idiot is ours. You really shouldn't talk about him like that. Truth hurts. Ellie, I rolled my eyes. If I had a pet, I'd baby it, I interrupted. What? No. Don't lie to me. Yes, you would. You already baby Noah. I raised my voice to a higher pitch. Hey, baby. Oh, you're so sweet. Yes, you are. Oh, you deserve some bacon, don't you? Oh, yes, you do. Charlie crossed her arms. I don't do that. Yep, and birds don't fly, and Noah doesn't like swimming, and the Blues Brothers isn't the greatest musical of all time, and oh, my Lord, shut up, Charlie interrupted, shoving me. I grinned and elbowed her back, and we continued to play fight until Noah barked, alerting us that we had arrived at our destination, the lake. Ever since we were 9, Charlie and I had been coming to this lake. We discovered it on a field trip, and after realizing it wasn't too far from our houses, we decided to claim it as our hangout spot. 5 years later, we're still going, except this year we had a guest, Noah. He loves water, hence his name, but he loves it too much. I remind you, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. There have been multiple times where he goes under a log and tries to Eddie Hall his way to oxygen by pushing up against it instead of just going around it. Luckily, Charlie loves to be around him, so she's always there to help. I don't go in the lake that much. I like to dip my toes in every now and then, but not full-on cannonball like Charlie does. She teases me for it too, calling me scaredy cat and wimp, but I'd much rather be a scaredy cat than sopping wet and dripping with freezing water. Within seconds, Charlie and Noah are leaping into the lake, leaving me to drop their towels and some treats for Noah on the grassy shore and sit, the water only coming up to my ankles and across my shins, just the way I like.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing again, Emily. Great stuff. Great job. Thanks again. So, going back to the the adult short story competition, the second honorable mention that we will have for tonight goes to Susan Demchak for Sugar Magnolia. Hope I said the name right. Susan, are you here?
I'm here.
Awesome. Congratulations. Clap it up for Susan one more time.
I'm Susan Demchak, and I'm a physician and playwright, and this short story was actually inspired by a play that I had written years ago that was produced locally and also at a theater company in New York. I was conceived at Woodstock. Seriously, my parents met at Woodstock, and I was born May 2nd, 1970. Do the math. My parents were flower children, now all grown up, to be hardworking, sensible people. My dad was an insurance agent who was good with money. He had suffered the moral injury of wanting to be a nomad and a free spirit, but also enjoying the comfort and security of a steady paycheck and disposable income. He coached my Little League team and led my scout troop. My mom stayed home with me until I went to school and then worked part-time teaching art and yoga and volunteering in soup kitchens. They were always the first to volunteer to chaperone field trips. They told me I could do anything I wanted in life and that it was important to find something that made me happy. I went to the College of Charleston and majored in psychology, but then changed my major junior year to philosophy with a minor in music. I started 2 different master's programs, then took some time off to try to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. They were still pretty supportive, but I was starting to sense a little more angst about my making some kind of decision about school and a career. They were both big fans of the Grateful Dead. My dad owned all the albums. When Jerry died this past August, I thought my dad would be crushed, and he did seem sad. But he just said, well, Jerry didn't take very good care of himself. He was right about that. I had seen an interview with Jerry on TV, I don't know, January. It occurred to me if I wanted to see them again in concert, this was the time. The tour kicked off in Philly in the spring, and I didn't make it to that show, but when they came to Charlotte in March, I scraped up the money for the show, some gas, and stuff to make t-shirts out of the trunk of my car. My dad loaned me a tent and some camping equipment. When do you think you'll be back? Well, when the tour's over, or I run out of money. He reached in his pocket and took out some money. He counted out 10 20s. They were generous with me and not too strict.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing that. Good work. Great work. Now, down to the top three winners in the adult short story competition. Third place goes to Craig Ferris for The Ground Before Zero. Clap it up for Craig. Congratulations, Craig. Are you here? I think I saw you earlier.
Michael. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome.
The Ground Before Zero, it won't make any sense unless I give you a little bit of background, but I've included that in the 500 words. So, Ground Before Zero is a fictitious story about a survivor of the South Tower of the former World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. 5 years after 9/11, Stephen Mobley, along with his wife, Beth, have been summoned to appear and testify before an arbitration hearing in New York by representatives of the case of Miss Delia Moore versus the New York Port Authority. Delia is a former employee of the investment firm that worked on Steve's 87th floor of the South Tower, the second building that was hit. Both Beth and Stephen are at a loss as to why he has been called to testify, since he barely knew her other than providing notary seals on documents from her firm. That's all. He doesn't even know if she is still alive, but he is about to find out. Excerpt from page 7. May 2006, New York Court of Mediation, Moore versus the New York Port Authority, afternoon session. Mr. Mobley, on September 11th, you said the security guard specifically told you and the others to return upstairs to your offices. The attorney representing Delia's estate asked. Yes, I said. Why? He said there was debris falling from the North Tower and it was too dangerous to exit the building. Would you have left the site if he had not instructed you to do so? I'm sure we all would have, I said. No more questions, he said to the arbitrator. The plaintiff's attorney stood for a follow-up question. Mr. Mobley, how well did you know Ms. Moore? The company she worked for was on the same floor as ours. She would regularly come by to have my notary seal on legal documents. So your relationship was strictly professional? Yes. The attorney put on a pair of rubber gloves, opened a plastic bag, and placed a dark burgundy-stained, badly scorched object on the table in front of me. Do you recognize this? It was very difficult to tell what it was. No, I do not, I said. He handed me a pair of rubber gloves, which I put on. Would you please open the cover of the book and read the inscription? I did, and despite the dark burgundy stains, I saw my name printed on the inside cover. It was the Bible that had collected dust on my desk for years. Oh, my Lord. This was on my desk, I said. How did it survive? It was inside the remains of a human torso found on the south side of the South Tower. My God, I said. My hands recoiled as I realized that the burgundy stains were blood soaked into the pages. DNA samples identified the victim as Miss Delia Moore, and given its location, it looks as if she may have fallen or jumped from the South Tower while holding it. Do you have any idea how it might have ended up in her possession? No, I do not, I said. The last time I saw it, it was on my desk on the 85th floor of the South Tower. You were not with her? No. Did you give it to her before she fell? Or was she pushed? Of course not. I barely knew her, and I never saw her again after leaving the building. I can only assume that she grabbed it for spiritual comfort and fell, or jumped to avoid the flames. Why don't you tell us exactly how you escaped from the building that night? The arbitrator said. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. So you go by Mike, not Craig.
No, I go by Craig. Mike's my brother.
Oh, okay.
I was using this other computer.
Gotcha.
Mine died halfway through. So
right. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Craig. I appreciate it. Great stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, great cliffhanger to end us on too, by the way. So thanks for that.
That's why I write suspense.
Awesome. So we're down now to the top two winners of the adult short story competition. So without further ado, second place goes to, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Julia Break Crates for Melting.
Hi, that's correct.
That's right. Oh, yes.
Yes.
All right. Clap it up for Julia, everybody.
Can y'all hear okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm outside, so there might be like trucks going by or something. So good job to everybody and congratulations. Everybody's doing so great. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from the end of my story, Melting. So I guess I'll start. Where would you be if you weren't here? I don't know. Probably at work or at home. How about you? Nowhere. I don't know. Martha turned her attention back to the ceiling, unsatisfied. The high had begun to fade the longer they talked. The crevices in Mark's face that had seemed intriguing earlier on now appeared harsh and ugly. His gestures, the way he stared so long at nothing, all of his movements bored her. As she lay there, the realization that they were all stuck dawned on Martha. The vastness of the world that existed beyond this town could not be obtained by her or anyone around her. The glossy magazine pictures she had pored over with G many years back, the holes in her bedroom ceiling where the map used to hang, and the ever-present longing to leave this place. These images danced through Martha's mind as she stared up at the ceiling in the dingy apartment. She felt the weight of these recollections and their impossible promises like a rock inside of her, pressing her down into the dirty carpet. While the last remains of the weed smoke lingered around the dark objects and bleak faces of the inhabitants of the living room, the fog clouding Martha's thoughts dispersed. A sudden terror seized her body when her mind conjured up the images that the weed had helped to push away. Martha was shaking as she pushed herself up off the dirty ground and pressed her palms hard against her temples. An image of G, trembling in his bed, calling out to someone for help, asking for his food, had moved to the forefront of her mind. She pictured him getting out of bed and shuffling towards the kitchen, only to forget why he'd gone in there. The thoughts grew more harrowing the longer Martha sat there, and so she stood up quickly to try and stop them. "Hey, are you good?" Mark asked. "No," Martha replied, without glancing down at him. She made her way towards the kitchen, stepping over an empty pizza box and a pair of outstretched legs. She did not look back as she stumbled out of the dark living room and into the brightness of the white kitchen. After splashing cold water on her face at the sink, Martha left the apartment, the cold air awakening all of her senses and brushing away the last traces of her high. Thank you very much. I'm a Winthrop student, so yeah, go Winthrop, and thank you. I don't know what I'm saying.
Awesome. Congrats, Julia. I'm a Winthrop alum, and I work at Winthrop, so go Eagles all day. Go Eagles all the time. So congratulations. Thank you again. So now our last winner of the night. We've come down to the end of this night. Before I announce that, I just want to say thank you again to all the writers that submitted to the competition, those that won, and even those who did not as well. I think it's important. It's always important for writers to write and for us to read the writings and to hear them, to hear the different worlds that can be created through poetry and through short stories and through prose and narratives. It's really important that we document this time in the times of our lives by writing them. And so that years later, when the archives are going, when we're all just dust and bones, people can still look at the things that we were doing and writing at this time and say, hey, here's what the world was then. So I think it's really important. So thank you for the work that you're doing and continue to do it for sure. So without further ado, the first place prize for the adult short story competition goes to Joseph Shields for Joey's Gift. Clap it up for Joseph. Joseph, are you here?
Joseph, it looks like you're muted.
Okay.
Let's see.
See, I can't see him, so.
Joseph, it should be the red microphone that's at the bottom of your screen.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Well, first off, congratulations to all of the fellow authors that worked so hard and competed in this contest. This is a very, very pleasant and surprise. I live in Aiken. This is a story that I wrote many, many years ago. I have a grandson who was born on my birthday and who shares my name, Joseph. And I wrote this story for him as a gift. It won a first prize here in a local Aiken literary contest many, many years ago. But it has never been published. So let me just read on. Indian summer hung in the air tenaciously. Autumn awaited around the corner. A pine-scented breeze blew through the trees, adding a whisper to the peaceful scene. The boat drifted around its anchor in lazy half-circles, disturbing the spindly-legged bugs that skated across the surface. Mosquitoes and gnats fell prey to four-winged dragonflies, or snake doctors, as Gramps called them, that flitted about silently. The old man stretched out on his side, reclined in the passenger seat in the front of the boat. It wasn't long before his stentorian snoring interrupted the tranquility of the cove. A bell attached to the end of his pole will alert him if he had a bite, that is, if he heard it at all. Joey slumped in the back. His earbuds pulsed with rock and roll music transmitted wirelessly from his cell phone. He drank from a can of Dr. Pepper, his third since leaving the house. Inevitably, the call of nature beckoned. He set his drink into a cup holder, shuffled to the side of the boat, and relieved himself into the water. His movement rocked the boat side to side, disturbing Gramps' nap. "If you keep drinking that pop and pissing in the lake, we'll never catch any fish," he grumbled. With that, he rolled onto his back, clasped his hands over his chest, and fell back asleep. Joey continued peeing into the lake, testing his range. He scanned the surface, searching for the bobber that floated above his baited hook. He caught sight of it just before it disappeared under the water. His reel began to spin rapidly, releasing yards of filament line. Oh, crap. He fumbled to collect himself, restored his clothing, and jerked the rod out of the holder. The tip bent from the pull of the fish as it fled toward the safety of branches on a fallen oak tree, half submerged in the water, its roots still clinging to the bank. "It's a big one, Gramps," the boy crowed. "That fiver in my pocket gets a mate." The boat wobbled from the struggle between boy and prey. He raised the rod and cranked the reel several times. The fish was no match for the determined youngster. It fought hard, but was inexorably tugged closer and closer to the boat. Nearing the surface, it rolled over and gave up. Joey yanked the bass out of the water and dropped it onto the boat's floor. It curled and flopped, desperate to return to its watery domain. He turned to look in Gramps' direction, expecting a cheer that never came. His grandfather appeared to be asleep again, oblivious to the frantic activity behind him. The snoring had stopped. "Gramps?" No response. He dropped his pole and scrambled forward. Gramps' face was ashen and distorted as if he were in pain. His clenched fist rested motionless on his left breast. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Also, another cliffhanger. Thank you so much, Joseph, for sharing. Congratulations to you. I'm going to give one last foghorn to all the winners for tonight, since you all did such good work.
How do we get out of this? Go back to
Thanks again to everybody for attending. Thank you to Jesselyn and to the Arts Council staff for asking me to host this event. I hope I didn't ruin everything for you all. Thank you all for sharing your work, for being here, especially to the youth. It's always great to hear adults, but it's especially a joy for me to hear what the youth have to say. So thank you again for sharing it. Thank you for being here. Apply next year. Stay tuned to what we have going on to the Arts Council website. I also will mention, quick plug, that in May we will be doing the first poetry festival in Rock Hill called the One Word Poetry Festival that I'm putting together with some amazing folks from town. So we definitely want you all to be a part of that, of workshops, performances, competitions, all that good stuff. So please stay tuned to all those things we have going on. And in the words of Russell Simmons, thank you for coming. I hope you were inspired. God bless you all, and good night.
Thank you so much. Good night.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks, everyone.